So if we go over here and say, all right, here we go. We can see the details. So 347 kilowatt. Unfortunately, this doesn't qualify for the EV Go plan. 69 cents per kilowatt hour. This is going to be a very expensive charging stop. Hello everyone, welcome back to Electrified Outdoors. Today we've got a really cool road trip from Mount Airy, Maryland to Ann Arbor, Michigan and back. And we're also going to do a 10 to 80% DC fast charging test on the new Chevy Silverado EV work truck. So stay tuned, you don't want to miss out on this one. Okay everyone, so we're starting out here on our trip. Unfortunately, I was only able to charge to 70%. So our first stop will be in Pittsburg, PA. And it's saying we've got 320 miles of range. So I'll catch up with you in Pittsburgh and we'll see how we do. Hey, if you're new here, my name is Ken and I make videos about electric vehicles. And I try to have a little fun and create a relaxing atmosphere for my viewers as well. If you like what you see, go ahead and click on subscribe. And then when you click on subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our upcoming content. And if you hit that like button, it'll help others find our content just a little bit easier on YouTube. All right, everyone, so kind of a change of plans. I stopped at the EV Go station and it was full. And not only that, but there was a Kia EV6 there charging. He only had 31%, but he was only pulling 57 kilowatt. So I just decided to bypass that one. There's a Tesla supercharger less than a half a mile from that station. So that's where I'm at now. I'm getting 173 kilowatt. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. All right, so my average efficiency was actually 1.5. I don't like the way this GM system clears every time you put the vehicle in park. So it cleared, getting 174 kilowatt here, and I plugged in at 8%. I now have 12%, and I need to charge up to 58%. So I'm going to do that, and hopefully the next EV Go station will be in working order and not full, because I'd like to try the 10 to 80% charge there. It should work out to where I can do that. So I'll see you at the next charging stop. So we charged up to 58% at the Pittsburgh supercharger there at the Target. It's getting mostly 150 kilowatt the whole time. So our next charging stop is going to be in Avon, Ohio. We're going to stop at an EV Go station. It is a 350 kilowatt station that will hopefully allow us to do a good 10 to 80% charge. It's a little chilly outside. It's in the 20s Fahrenheit, but that is a 350 kilowatt charger. The only downside is you don't get discounted rates because it's one of the new pilot stations. It's considered in EV Go's extended network. And I looked at the rate and it said 69 cents per kilowatt hour. So it's going to be an expensive charging stop, but I want to do it anyway because I want to document the 10 to 80%, especially in these chilly conditions, to see how this truck does and to see if I can get that 350 kilowatt speed. Just like I did back there, I'm going to precondition the truck 30 minutes before I arrive at the charger. So that's going to be it for this, folks. I'll catch up with you when we get there. It says we've got 141 miles to go, and we'll get there at 8:50 p.m., so about 2 hours from now. Okay, everyone, so I'm checking in with you a little bit earlier. I'm going to turn on the preconditioning. Now, I may have to turn that off because the range predictor says that I have 63 miles of range and I have to go 38 miles, and I have about 32 minutes that I'm going to need to run the battery preconditioning. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this on, put the fast prep on here, and it's in progress. So we've got the fast prep going for the next 30 minutes, and hopefully that should help us get the fastest possible charging speed when we get to our charger. But like I said, if it reduces my range too much, I may have to turn it off prematurely. But we'll find out when we get to the charger. So we're here at the pilot station in Avon, Ohio. We're at a new GM charger, so I'm gonna go out and try to activate this. Let me show you real quick. I have exactly 10% charge left. So I have exactly 10%. And I'm actually gonna set this to, let's close this. It's bugging me to charge up, which I'm at a charger, so I'm gonna set this to 80%. So this will stop charging right at 80%. So let's go out and try to activate the charger and see what kind of speed we get. I have been doing the fast prep. I was a little late doing it, so it's only done 26 minutes before we got here, but it should be enough. We've been driving for a while, so the battery should be warm. Hey, now that's what I'm talking about. 344 kilowatt. It is really cold out there, but I'm gonna try to get you out there and show you the charger. So we're charging at 717 miles per hour, and it's saying we're gonna be able to charge to 80% in 40 minutes. So if all works well, 40 minutes, 10 to 80% here in the Silverado EV work truck. This is the large battery. So this is really good. 342 kilowatt. Let's take a look at the charger. So if we go over here and say, all right, here we go. We can see the details. So 347 kilowatt. Unfortunately, this doesn't qualify for the EV Go plan. 69 cents per kilowatt hour. This is going to be a very expensive charging stop. Okay, folks, so we're at 49% state of charge, 50% now, and we're still pulling 295 kilowatt. So pretty good. It's saying the ambient is 31, but it feels a lot colder than that, folks. 293. It says we're going to be at 80% in 20 minutes. We'll have to analyze the full charging session after it's finished. But again, this is going to cut off at 80%, so I'm going to let it go all the way until the vehicle terminates the charge. Okay, everyone, so looks like it's dropped down to right around 200 kilowatt, and we're at 63%, but it dropped off right around 60. It started throttling back. It's down to 193, and it says we still have 15 minutes until we get to 80%. But pretty interesting. And it's not warm out, folks. It's 31. And like I said, it's probably even colder than that. It feels absolutely frigid outside. Okay, folks, so quick note. It was down around 150, 145, 150 until about 72% state of charge. Now it looks like it's ramping back up. It's back up to 160. This is going to be a pretty fast session, I believe, because we have 73% and it's saying we're going to be ready in 5 minutes. And we've been stopped. It's been 33 minutes since I put the truck in park. Now remember, it took me a minute or two to activate the charger. So we've only been charging for probably like 31 minutes. So that's up to 170 now. The bill for this is already over $100, unfortunately. But I guess that's the cost you pay for 800 volt, 350 kilowatt charging. 176. I'm impressed with how well this charges. This truck charges fast. Remember, folks, I pulled up here with 10%, and here we are less than 35 minutes later, and I've already got 75%. This is charging faster than the Rivian, for sure. Back up to 180. So We'll let it get the rest of the 5%, and then we'll come back, and I'll let you also know how much it ramped up to. It's up to 183 now. All right, folks, so my camera didn't record properly. 38 minutes, 10 to 80%. Totally amazed by this Silverado EV. Okay, everyone, so it's the next morning. It was kind of late when I finally reached the hotel here, but the efficiency was pretty bad. I was right down around 1.5 miles per kilowatt hour pretty much the whole way, but there were a lot of hills going up and down. So it doesn't surprise me. Plus, I was doing about 14 miles over the speed limit for most of the time, allegedly. So I want to talk some more about the 10 to 80% charge test that I did. Now, these really weren't optimal conditions because the outside temperature was pretty low. It was like under 30 degrees, like 29, somewhere in that range. I know the truck said it was 31, but it wasn't 31. It was cooler than that. The other thing I wanted to note is the Pilot charging stations. So EVgo is putting chargers, or GM Energy is putting chargers in all the Pilot truck stops, rest stops, and those are not included in the EVgo pricing plan. So if you're an EVgo plan subscriber, you're not going to get any price savings off of the chargers at the Pilot stations. The cost was 69 cents per kilowatt hour, and I put 160 kilowatt hours into the battery on that 10 to 80% charge. So let's get into the numbers here. I'm going to show you. So I'm going to put a screenshot of this up on the screen for you as well. But the session details were as follows. The session lasted 38 minutes. So it was very, very fast. I put in 160.939 kilowatt hours. So 161 kilowatt hours in 38 minutes. That's impressive. Remember, the Rivian large pack is about 131 kilowatt hours usable, and the Rivian Max pack is about 142 kilowatt hours usable. So when you think about 161 kilowatt hours in 38 minutes, that's more than an entire Rivian Max pack. So that's a lot of energy to get in there in such a short period of time. I was thoroughly impressed with that. What I wasn't impressed with was the price. So 69 cents per kilowatt hour, as I explained, the Pilot stations are not part of the EVgo membership discount. So 69 cents per kilowatt hour, no discount. The total for that charge, that 10 to 80% charge, was $111.05. I'm still in shock over that. That's a lot for one charge, but this is a big, big battery. But this should give you some idea of what these trucks are capable of on an 800 volt capable charger. And this is the kind of charging speed that's necessary, especially if you're towing, which a lot of folks that are getting these trucks are going to be doing. They're going to be getting them for towing because people don't normally need 450 miles of range on a daily basis. They want 450 miles of range so that they can tow on a road trip. And so it's good to know that you can get that energy back into the battery very quickly so that when you're on a towing road trip, quick charging stops and good range. The only thing, like I said, that's an issue is the pricing for the energy. Now, Electrify America, I know what you're thinking. I think the same thing. I would like to hope that Electrify America is improving their service. However, Electrify America is cheaper, and they do also have 350 kilowatt charging capability. So that's another option. But I hope you guys found this helpful, learning what a 10 to 80% charge on a Silverado EV is like. This will be a little tiny bit different on the 2025 Max batteries because they are slightly larger, but I still think it'll be about 40 minutes on that battery, 10 to 80%. Okay, folks, good morning. So it's about 7:30 a.m. on Sunday, and we're going to be on our way back to Maryland from Ann Arbor, Michigan. Now, I went ahead and reset my second trip meter. I'll put a photo up on the screen showing you what my average was over about 2,000 miles that I've had the truck, but I'm going to be measuring it on trip 2 on the way back. And I'm aiming for quickest arrival, so I'm going to minimize any charging stops. I'm not going to stop at the EVgo 350 kilowatt stations again because it was just too darn expensive, folks. 69 cents per kilowatt hour, and the pilot stations are not included in the EVgo discount plan. So great if you really need a fast charge, but not so good on your wallet. It wound up costing me, I figured out it was about $40 more expensive for that one charge than it would have been had I charged at Tesla with the membership pricing. So it's all Tesla on the way back. Okay, everyone, so here we are at our first charging stop. I have about 24% when I plugged in, and I'm getting 177 kilowatt. Well, let's take a look. So I'm up to 178. Again, the most I'm gonna see here is probably about 185 kilowatt. And I'm already up to 25%. Now I only need to charge to 47% here to get to my next stop. So this is gonna be a short stop. I expect probably about 15 minutes or so for me to get to 47% and then move on. But yep, that's it. We'll check in with you again at the next charging stop. Oh, let's check our trip meter so far. And let me see if I can scroll over here to vehicle status. Hopefully you can see this. It's a little bit of a glare here. So again, as soon as I put the vehicle in park, the current trip resets. I don't like how that happens. I think you should get a prompt to reset that. But here we are on trip 2, and I've gone 180.7 miles. I've averaged 1.5 miles per kilowatt hour. This trip is a little more hilly. It is 46 degrees, so that's the ambient. But the vehicle was cold soaked, so I suspect a lot of energy was used to heat the battery, to get the battery up to temp. So we'll have to see how that shakes out on the rest of the trip. So I'll check in with you guys on the next charging stop. Okay, everyone, so last charging stop of the day. I have 24% when I plugged in, and I'm getting 178 kilowatt. Well, let's take a look again. So here's my speed. And when I went over here, so if I go into my fast charging, or my charging screen, and I set it to 70%. So I'm going to charge up to 70% here, and then I'll be able to complete the final leg of my trip. Now, the important thing to note is if you want to figure out how long it's going to take you to charge, you can move this slider around. So I moved the slider down to 70%, and it's telling me 35 minutes. So that's a pro tip if you're on a road trip and you want to see how long you're going to need to charge. But I did not precondition this time, and I'm still getting 178, 179 kilowatt. So I'll catch up with you guys when we get to our destination, and we'll check everything out. Oh, the trip meter. Let's take a look at the trip meter. Wish you didn't have to go through so many steps to get to it. So I was really hauling this second leg of the trip here, and you can see that I've gone 270.7 miles, and I'm averaging 1.6 miles per kilowatt hour. I think it's a combination of speed. There's also a lot of wind today. The truck's really getting blown around, and this truck doesn't really tend to do that, so that tells me the winds are pretty high, the fact that it's actually getting blown around a bit. But anyway, catch up with you at the destination. Okay, everyone, so we're back here. I did take a detour. I actually had to go to Potomac and pick my wife and daughter up and then come back. So I drove a little bit more than the road trip. But let's go ahead and take a look at our trip meter. And I was really hauling, folks. So as you can see, I went 548 miles, and I averaged 1.7 miles per kilowatt hour for the whole trip. So that's pretty good considering I was doing allegedly 14 miles over the speed limit, and most of the way it was 70. So pretty good efficiency for those kind of speeds.
Okay, everyone, so just here on the desktop really quick, I wanted to sum up all of the charging stats. This includes the 10 to 80% charge that I talked about. That was actually my second charging stop on the way up, but I have that at the top of the list. And as we can see, the 10 to 80% charge was just about 161 kilowatt hours energy delivered. The cost was $111.05. That was 69 cents per kilowatt hour. Really, really high, with no ability to get a discount with the EV Go plan. And the session duration, of course, as we discussed, was only 38 minutes. That's a really impressive result for the Silverado EV. And then you can see all the other charging that I did. One other note, the one in Ypsilanti, Michigan was charging the vehicle up while I was driving around at my destination. The reason why I did that is because I forgot my Tesla to J1772 adapter, left that at home, and so I couldn't charge at the hotel. I had to use a public charger instead. So that charging stop was not part of the trip up or down. That was done while I was there. So totals. So the total amount of public charging that I did was just about 561 kilowatt hours. The total cost for all that charging, $260.70, most of which is that one really expensive charging stop at the Pilot Travel Center.
What do you guys think of the Silverado EV, and what do you think of its charging speed? Let us know down in the comments section. We always love to hear from you down there. Also, remember to like this video as it helps others find our content easier on YouTube. Hit subscribe and then hit the notification bell so you get notified anytime we add new content. As always, folks, remember to hug the people you love every chance you get, and I'll see you next time.